YouTube as well. So feel free, follow along. This is fun. Everybody have an awesome weekend. Bye. All right, there we go. I say goodbye to the people on TikTok so I can say hello to the people on YouTube. Kind of seamless. And hey, look, it's getting a little bit brighter out. Yay. Yay for bright stuff. Yay. So I'm going to do a couple of things right here. I am going to make the comments larger and make my head smaller because I see myself all the time. Yay, Bicky Ridgway. Thank you for the see and hear thing. Regina, hello again. Farm Girl, good morning. Yay, Kathleen Goldit made it to the YouTube. Yeah, look at how you jumped from one pool to the next. I love it. Good morning, Cheryl with an S and Cheryl with a seagull. Good to see you. I had my phone propped up on my yoga block. I don't need it anymore because I'm on my phone. Okay. All righty. So yay. And here's a cool thing. Couldn't find me on YouTube yesterday, Cheryl. Interesting. I was there. Oh, there was a weird glitch at the very beginning. It's all good though. We're here now. All right, Erin. Love it. All right, I'm gonna hotten my cup here. I'm gonna put it on my little thing, gonna add some water. I hope everybody's drinking water this morning along with your tea or coffee. Linda Vallette. I'm excited. I made it over. My name is Linda Vallette on here, but it's actually Linda Archer. Many of us have many different noms de plume or noms de web. So all good. Coffee talk. Right. What was I thinking? Here we are. It is 8:02. Oops, just 8:03 East Coast time. Just check in with yourself. I will be here for the next 57 minutes. Then, just as a heads up, I will not be on live for the next, and I'm going to pull up the secret page. You guys know how to get to the secret page, don't you? Scream real loud. No, sign up for join the email group. 8 a.m. YouTube. Yeah, the next time we will see each other after this is going, unless you're one of my decluttering coaching clients, is 8 a.m. on Monday, September 29th. My God, already September. Anyhow, all good. Let's spend our time together now. All righty. So, Farm Girl, thank you for leading off with a question saying, all right, and this is good. Katie Chavez and Farm Girl, can you please touch on how our nervous system changes as we get older? Katie Chavez is saying, just asked you on TikTok about how to start cleaning after I get paralyzed, not knowing how to start. Never had a problem before. Okay. And Laura Voorhees is just offering to you guys the wonders of decluttering. I am grateful for the increased calm I am creating. I love that, in my piano room. Increasing the calm and you are doing it, my dear. Having a place where I can vibe with the calm is so needed nowadays. Yeah, that's why I'm here in your life. But yeah, Farm Girl, Katie Chavez, everybody, every single one of us can benefit from practicing regulating our nervous system. Okay. Now, Farm Girl, I will offer to you that technically the way you asked your question, I don't have a good answer for that. I don't know how it changes as we get older, but what I believe is our nervous system is part of our human physical body. And I don't know about you, but as I get older, my body changes and I can't do anything about it. It will change whether I want it to or not. I can't say, stop gaining weight. And suddenly it's like, oh, okay, no big deal. Stop getting wrinkles. Oh, it happens somehow. Regardless of how we got there, though, here we are. So what can we do with a nervous system that maybe is different than it was earlier in our lives? We can learn the skill of regulating our nervous system. Now, this is interesting because this is a phrase that comes from life coaching, and I'm Beth, a decluttering life coach, right? Not right. Yes, am. Think about that word regulating. It doesn't mean, I often think of it as calming down because we're usually riled up. We're overwhelmed. Things are over our head, that type of thing. But regulating your nervous system is almost like between 2 points. Okay, so think about it like this. If I was to, well, I can do it because I can draw a picture right here. Let me get a pen. So think about this. Your nervous system, and this is just me making stuff up literally off the top of my head right now. So your nervous system, let's say, is right here. Okay, this is your nervous system. And when you are feeling anxious, when you are paralyzed, it's kind of like your nervous system is like this. Okay, like, I can't, deer in the headlights, like fear. Does that sound familiar? So there's that. Or there's another opposite to that, which is like almost like, oh my God, I can't even. I'm like, it's almost like that thing in the hospital. Like, am I alive? I feel so like can't even. Regulating is getting not up here and not down here, but this. This is what we want. Okay? A little bit more. Up and down. So let's start with this one because this tends to be where most people hang out. And I know this because overwhelm and um, anxiety and paralyzed is a feeling, but we can change that. So I say, Katie, turn down the volume on the thought. I don't know how to start. I don't know how to start. I've never had this problem before. I don't know where to start. Shit, something's changed. Fear. Turn down that phrase. We'll deal with that later. But let's start with your physical body. Everybody, right now, let's play calm down or regulate the nervous system. The wacky new game from Mattel. Regulate your nervous system. Well, before you change something, you got to figure out where it is. Where do you feel paralyzed? Is it like freeze tag? Okay. Heather MC, good morning. Okay. Here's how I look at it. The more we can reconnect our parts of our body that we tend to think are separate, especially in the Western world, the more options we have to change things. So I will just pretend I'm feeling overwhelmed. Now, notice immediately when I said I'm feeling overwhelmed, my body embodied the feeling of overwhelmed. Did you notice what just happened there? If we replayed the tape, you would have seen my head look up, my shoulders go up, and my hands go up like this, like stop, too much, big. If I don't like how this feels, I can do the opposite, which is shoulders down, look down. Oh, that feels better on my neck already. And hands down. So notice even physically, even if we haven't addressed the whole, I don't know how, before we even get to the words, let's get to our bodies. This is why I often use the word calm down, because think about it. We want to get from here to here. That is a downward motion. And the word down has a lot of good stuff with it. Notice it was shoulders down. It was, instead of looking up and being overwhelmed, I can look down. I can put my hands, and I feel better. I can put my hands down below my heart. And even just that movement of putting my hands down across this invisible line feels better. Look at what Linda does. Linda says, what I'm trying to do is when I get anxious, and I will offer this too, I'm going to tweak your words, when I feel anxious. Remember associating overwhelm or anxiety with just a feeling. And the reason I ask you to do that is because feelings are temporary and you can change them. What I'm trying to do is when I feel anxious, I walk outside. Yes. I put my feet down on the ground. I walk outside. I get a breath of fresh air. I breathe down into my lungs. I probably slow down as I'm breathing in. I'm not like, no, I'm the opposite. I'm inhaling slowly, calming down, breathing down. I'm I'm slowing down the way I inhale and exhale. And then Linda is saying, then I start again taking notes in a notebook, writing down the thoughts in my head, getting my thoughts down out of my head, decluttering the attic and dumping the thoughts in my head onto a piece of paper. Notice where your feeling of overwhelm or anxiety shows up in your body. Did you notice that? You may not have, but I noticed right then. As I did this, I felt some tension in my temples. Now, I woke up with a headache, as I sometimes do. So I know that I get tense there. So what do I do to feel better? Maybe I rub that down. If my heart is feeling all clenched and protective, maybe because there's nothing to be afraid of, I expose my heart to myself. I put my hand down on my heart. And maybe this is a new one we started playing with yesterday because I'm always evolving my coaching. It's like a pet or a kid. It gets surprised and their fur goes zing. Well, we've got fur too. So maybe your fur kind of goes all prickly. So maybe you pet down your fur. You calm yourself down. You know, I do this sometimes because I feel all tense here. Maybe I'll go like Tarzan or Motorboat. And even doing that sometimes feels good to loosen the muscles that are tight around my feeling parts. All that stuff. Mix it up. It's a recipe. The recipe doesn't matter what order you do in it. As long as you have those ingredients that work for you, you can change how you feel physically. And then when you do that, when you're feeling better, when your brain has shifted because you've moved your body out of fear and tenseness and overwhelm into a better feeling, that's when we can then address the words part of this. Because notice the words probably started a lot of this. Because notice what who was it? I'm backing up here. Okay. Notice that these two phrases probably were some of the root causes of Katie Chavez's paralyzing. So the root cause, almost like if we were in a hospital, she's paralyzed. How did she get that way? Because she told herself two sentences that made herself not feel good. I don't know, and this is different from before. I don't know how to start decluttering. I don't know. Who doesn't? That's not a good feeling. You want to know. I know how to do that. I don't know how to start. And I've never had this problem before. So, shit, something's changing. Fear that something's changing. What the heck? So, let's address that. Okay. The cool thing is, yeah, you don't know how, and that's okay. But you know what you found? You found me. Okay. You found me, and I know how. So you don't need to know how. You just need to find somebody who knows how and learn from them. It's how you've learned everything in your life. You didn't know how to walk as a baby. So you observed people walking and you said, hey, that looks kind of cool. Instead of this crawling thing, I want to get up and walk, but I don't know how. And then trying to do it on your own, I don't know, but sometimes you need help. This is how you move your butt up in those little diapers. Getting help with something you don't know. Learning a skill you didn't learn before. Ooh, driving a car, that looks like fun. I want to do that, but I don't know how. Okay, how can I find out? I can find somebody who knows how to do it and learn from them. So notice that. That thought can also have a calming effect. It's okay, I don't know how to do this. I can learn from somebody who does. There's nothing wrong with me not knowing, but being freaked out about it is going to stop me from getting help. Okay? Now, Wendy says, and I love this, Wendy, that I'm seeing the past tense of the verb in your sentence. Functional freeze. Notice when we call things a thing, sometimes it gives it more power. Just notice it. Functional freeze really had a stranglehold on me. Notice the wording. I knew, I love past tense, I needed to clean and declutter. I knew up here logically, but I struggled to get started and I was overwhelmed with the stress of my home and my work life. Okay? Notice all those words. We are word people, and our words, unlike sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Names can wicked hurt you. Okay? But knowing that, you got to be mindful of the words that you use, both especially internally, but even externally. And the words that you allow to come in, but we're going to start internally. So notice when you practice, everybody right now on this YouTube Live can practice getting out of functional freeze or strangled or paralyzed. Like, notice the words you use and the bodily equivalent. I have too much stuff. I feel like I'm drowning in it. I'm suffocating. I'm in above over my head. Like I'm over, it's all over my head. All of those things have a bodily equivalent, and none of that feels good. I feel like I can't breathe when I have too much clutter. Well, the opposite could be true. When I have less clutter, I can breathe more. But even right now, getting your body out of that physical reaction to a thought in your head, danger, fear, something bad, it's like shifting gears. And this right here, this part right now, this is where you start. Before even starting any project, please always check in with your physical body and that part of your physical body known as the nervous system. Make sure both of those are feeling good before you even start. Because if you skip over those two things, it's like not prepping the surface if you are trying to paint something. If you skip over those two, yeah, you could probably do this, but then the paint's going to peel up. You know, it's not going to have the lasting effect. You will have a more lasting artwork if you prep the surface. And your surface is your physical body and your nervous system. So hang out with it. Notice when it's feeling off, and the sooner you recognize that you're starting to veer off, seriously, I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. Actually, I woke up at 4:30 a.m. and I had a headache. So I got up, even though it was dark, and I didn't want to get out of bed, and I took an Excedrin. Sometimes that works. So I waited for it to work, and then I was like, nope. So I got up half hour, 45 minutes later, and I took a pill for my migraines, for the migraines I feel in my body. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to own it. For the migraine. I did that to feel better. And I didn't wait for the headache to be like, wah, 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 wah. No, I could feel it coming on. And the sooner you feel that coming on and you can knock it back, it's easier. Okay? Yeah. Now, I do love this. Okay, Wendy. And I wasn't judging you. Please don't think I was judging you about using the phrase functional freeze. And I love that you put this in context because this can help other people as well. When I learned the term functional freeze, Wendy said, and if anybody wants to know what functional freeze is, if you think about it, freeze, can't function, overwhelm, ADHD, whatever it is, you can Google it. When I learned the term functional freeze, it helped me realize I wasn't alone. Oh, this feeling I have, other people have it too, so much so that they've called it something. It's not me being weird. It's a thing. Yay. Like kind of a diagnosis that I wasn't beyond help. No. And it helped me find solutions and helped me help myself. So I love that. And excuse me, I want to apologize if my earlier way of talking about functional freeze felt like it was in any way a judgment of you. It wasn't. Okay. Okay, good. And I just saw you see we're having no. I appreciate your perspective. The thing, and this is what I love about it. So this gives us a wonderful opportunity to clarify something. The thing that I get concerned about, fearful, frankly, is that when somebody sees a label, functional freeze, ADHD, hoarder, they look at it as an identity. They don't use that as a springboard, bing, to say, oh, I'm not alone and there's ways I can get out of this. They say, I'm in functional freeze and I can't do anything about it. That's the thing I am mindful about when I see people overly identifying with labels. And I say overly meaning they use that as a shutdown as opposed to an open up to find solutions. Okay. So that's the deeper kind of context of where I'm coming from when I see things like that. Is people hear about something and they label them something that themselves that way, and then they start to identify with it and kind of throw their hands up and say, "Oops, it's just how I am." Now, we are how we are, but I firmly believe that you can feel functional freeze, that you can be easily spooked. But the more you know that you can then get back, you can do something to change that. I prefer to live in that kind of world. That's helped me a lot. Okay. Now, Marietta is asking, good morning. Well, she says, good morning. Good morning. How to deal with transitional wardrobe decluttering, because clothes are my number one clutter item in my house. Any suggestions? Yes. Good morning, that one persona. Marietta, I know where you live, but I mean that I know that you and I live at the same latitude in the same part of the country. So I myself am struggling with transitional clothing. Now I am thinking, if you think about it, speaking about it right then, meant seasonal clothes. Okay. You may also mean size. I'm transitioning between sizes. Okay. So what I want to offer, this has really helped me, Marietta, in not just with seasonal clothes. And I will tell you how I deal with it. We are between worlds right now. So, hey, good morning, Kara. Clothing wise, seasonally, what I want to offer to you is you know that there will be a change, that it is going to get colder, even though temporarily right now it is so humid and unseasonably warm. Okay. And so I offer to you, if you're thinking of seasonal clothes, I will say right now, get comfortable with being in temporary limbo. What do I mean by that? It's not going to be all the summer clothes are away and all the winter clothes are out. It's the shoulder season. How I'm dealing with this is I am putting away some things that I know I'm not going to wear, like bathing suits and white jeans and overtly summer things. And I have them piled up, ready to go into a tote that already has my winter clothes in it. I also have my winter totes that are easily, like I can open them and pull out a long sleeve black t-shirt if I need one. But one thing that has helped me is to designate one area for those transitional clothes. And for me, what has helped is literally in this closet, I've got 2 totes of my winter clothes, and I have piled on it the stuff that I want to put in there. Is it going to stay in that pile long term? No, but it's out of sight. And when the weather more consistently turns colder, that's when I will do the change. But I have designated. So, Marietta, if it's seasonal clothing for anybody, designate a single area to start to put the clothes that you're not wearing. And then also, as you bring out things for the new season, put them in an area where you can more easily access them. Now, that's seasonal clothing, where we know that the change is going to happen. The other change that tends to jam people up clothing wise, so I'll go there too, is the change of body size, the change of weight and body size. Okay, so notice there are 2 categories. Notice Marietta is immediately, I have so many sizes. Seasonal clothes for 3 seasons. You're overwhelming yourself. I can always tell when somebody is overwhelmed in their nervous system by the amount of words that they type in the thing. So, Marietta, what I would offer is everything we just said. Breathe, slow, quiet down, breathe down, slow down, quiet down, slow down. Okay. So notice you have categories chunking down. You've got a goal here is getting rid of what I haven't worn. Okay. So do this. You have sizes. So let's go into that. You could go through your closet, one place, and pull out the sizes that don't fit you right now. Notice that is a chunk, that is a category, that is a subset of your clothing, and you're overwhelmed by all of it, all the seasons, all the sizes. Nope. Calming it down. Notice how your nervous system activates when there's too much of something and it's disorganized. So then we chunk it down, we make less of it, and we organize it into categories. Pick a size, any size. Pick even just, I know that doesn't fit on my body because it's too big. I know that doesn't fit it on my body because it's so small. And make 2 piles on your bed. And then ask yourself, if my body was that size, would I still want to wear it? And listen for your answers. Now, if you're saying my goal here is getting rid of what I haven't worn, maybe then, Marietta, you pull out just the things you didn't wear this previous season and get curious why you didn't wear them. Okay? Yeah. Now, Kara is offering, and I do this too. I really don't keep things that don't make me feel good. I do this now, but for years I would keep clothes that didn't feel good because of various reasons. So many of us may have been in the past in the habit of keeping clothing regardless of how it made me feel in my current body. I don't do it anymore, but I did, so I had a pile. And how I got through those piles was even saying, is this comfortable on my body? Okay. Kara says, I really don't keep things. Now I don't keep things that don't make me feel good, and I edit my clothes regularly. I do that too. And that is living like a decluttered person. Yeah. Okay. Yes. There we go, Marietta. I freaking love this. Good advice. And yes, a tad overwhelmed. So going to meditate first. Yes. Quiet down the brain. Quiet down the words in your head. Turn down the volume on that radio. Calm down the body. Settle down. Okay. Yeah. When you feel better, you will do better. Because you'll see, oh, that's right. I can chunk it down. I can get started. I don't have to do it all, but the only way I get it all done is to start with a chunk. It's like paving a road. It's like building a pyramid. It's like pretty much doing anything. Now, LO is offering functional freeze is like sitting at a green light on the way to your decluttering destination, but you're stuck in park. Car works, road's clear, but you need a small shift into drive to get moving again. And you know what that shift is? Shifting your nervous system into, instead of fear that I can't do it, into a little bit of confidence that even if I don't know how to do it right now, there are helpers all along the way. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And this is, I hope this helps. And Kara, I hear what you're saying. And I too am instead of on the edge of 17, I'm on the edge of freaking 60. So anybody who is struggling with clothing and is of an age where you're prior to being the wisdom age that we're hitting, Kara offers. It used to be, notice past tense, it used to be all about shame because one day I will fit into that whatever. I'm ashamed of my body right now, but someday I'll be skinny again and be socially accepted. Now that I'm 60, if it doesn't serve me, it goes. There is a wonderful freedom in not caring. The We Do Not Care Club. Yeah, I am totally a member. Okay. But notice Wendy is saying the weight changes and decluttering is a rough area for myself. So currently it still is. I did get real about clothing I didn't wear either for comfort or taste. But yes, here's the deal. And I want to share this from my own perspective. For everybody who has yet to get into the menopause, we forget. This is how I look at it. This is how I kind of reminded myself. Before age 10, our bodies were our bodies. Then one day we wake up and we notice we start developing boobs and hair and periods and smells and things like that there. We didn't ask for it. The human body just decided to change. I bet very few of us remember how strange and uncomfortable and weird it felt to all of a sudden go from the body we knew for the first 10, 12 years, 15 years of our lives into something different. We have forgotten that. And then from age 10, 12, 15 to 50, 45, 55, 60, our body was pretty much the same. So we thought, oh, well, I will always be this way. Your body, your nervous system, your brain, then, unbeknownst to you, decides to change again. And it's saying, oh, yeah, no, we're going through a change again. This is just like puberty, only different. And you're going to gain weight. You're going to gain whiskers. You're going to gain wrinkles. You're going to lose memories, all that stuff. You don't have a lot of control over it. And so it can be very uncomfortable to shift gears and be like, whoa, what is my body doing? Where did that fat come from? And we live in a fat shaming society. And I know I grew up in that way. So it can be an extra struggle because we are told that having a body that does not conform to this ideal means you have something wrong with you. You're weak, you're lazy, you make poor choices. And so there is a lot of shame that is thrown on us when really our body is just bodying, you know? I offer this to you to say it can be a struggle, and that's okay. You're not yours in the struggle, as my friend Eric Huey and Mother Jones would say. But what I offer is it's the struggle between what they think you should be and what you think you should be and what you are. And you can either give up and always be getting that and still not do whatever, or you can say, I'm going to love myself for who I am, and I'm going to age and buy clothes that feel good on this body that I'm in right now. Now, Kara says, and I have lost about 50 pounds and bought new clothes that I love. So even if she kept the smaller clothes from 50 pounds ago, maybe now her tastes have changed. She wants to buy other clothes that fit this body. Yeah. Yeah, and Cheryl says at 65 years old, that Teller works from home in the last 5 years. I live in comfy clothes. You guys, I show up in comfy clothes all the time. But for years, I had to wear uncomfortable clothes because I worked in an office. Okay? Yes, Kara, that is, I believe, one of the curses of our generation is sadly a curse of our mother's generation, that they were taught to be ashamed of their bodies, that dieting, that my mother totally has body dysmorphia, even at age 80 something. She was never overweight, but she was told that she's not good enough unless she weighs like 98 pounds. All righty. Now, LO is offering a clear closet equals an open road. Ooh. I'm working on that and it feels exciting to revisit and renew my fashion style. Yeah. Yeah, notice that open road. Ooh, I get to decide what I want to wear. I get to say no thank you to the clothes that I used to wear and say yes to new stuff, new styles. How does that look and feel on this body? Ooh, I look kind of cute. Check me out in my caftan. Or check me out in my skin tight thing, and even if some ripples show, I like my ripples. It all depends, but notice the difference in the story you're telling yourself. A clear closet to other people could mean lack. I don't have enough clothes. I'm afraid I don't have enough to wear. And so they fill up their closet. I have very few things hanging in both of these closets, and I will share with you. Even the few items I have, some of my seasonal items I wore once or twice in the entire summer. because I tend to wear the same thing over and over again. Okay. Yeah. And Wendy LCM says the dieting culture of the 70s and 80s and the stuff of nightmares. So many of my friends were given pills by their mothers so they could stay thin. Yeah. And I will offer Wendy LCM, if you look in history, it really goes back along a lot longer than that. Easily into the early 20th century, if not 1800s. Think about corsets. Think about women, fainting and not eating to maintain that figure. There are diet pills from the 50s. There's all sorts of evidence that in our recent history, yes, but also in the history of being a woman on the planet, structures have been invented to keep us weak and hungry and in somebody else in control. Because when you are just obsessed about something else, like the weight on your scale, you're not toppling the patriarchy because you're too tired and weak to do it. That's one of the reasons. Do not discount that thought. People who are tired and weak are easily more controllable and more likely to be like, fine, whatever, just do it. I just have to hang on until I get my figurine bar. Okay. Yeah. Kara, mine does too, and now she has Alzheimer's. She gets excited to lose 1 pound. I never talk about weight or body size with my own kids. People are people. Yeah. And this is the thing I love about our generation. My mom was like that. I don't have kids. I struggle with body issues. My sisters do too. The wonderful thing I see is that my generation, at least in my family immediately, has hopefully broken the cycle of that. That doesn't look at vegetables as diet food and suffering and chocolate as good and rewarding and a treat. Bad foods and good foods. No. Bodies are going to body. Eat something that's going to be the best fuel for you. So yay for changing the dynamic for your family. We're doing the same with decluttering. Okay. And notice, it is all about figuring out what you want. It really is decluttering your thoughts of the unhelpful thoughts about, oh my God, I lost a pound. I'm better. I feel better than I did. I weighed less. I weigh myself occasionally. And I weighed less this week than I did today. And you know why? Because I had an upset stomach and I pooped a lot. Now I haven't pooped in a couple of days, which is fine. So I weigh more because I've got poop in my body. I mean, I'm not trying to be gross, but I'm just saying that if we only identify with a number on a scale, we are not living into all the good stuff that we have. If we're feeling ashamed because we gained a pound, let's break that cycle with ourselves and let's make sure that is something kind of like that just dies out with certain generations. But there's a lot of people that make money and power over keeping people obsessing about something that in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter. Now I say this, and yet again, I'm not trying to gatekeep. I am on a GLP-1 because I really was so physically uncomfortable in my body that it was affecting my mental health. And if there's something there that can make my mental health feel better, I'm all for it. And it has really worked wonders for me. So I just say that I'm not ashamed to admit that, to be like, oh, I've got a secret. No, it has helped me physically and mentally. And it makes it so much easier to get through life. Yeah. And Kara, okay, GLP-1 for you too. Real game changer, people. There's no shame in it. That's why I'm not, that's why I'm sharing it. It has made me feel better. And I move my body more. I make better food choices. I am exercising for strength and really feeling comfortable in my body. I can cross my legs more easily. I literally delight in being able to cross my legs more easily than I did when I gained 25 to 30 pounds. So I just offer to you that there's no shame in whatever size you are. And please be comfortable in your own body. But if you're not, do it. Do something for it, but do it for the right reasons. Okay? So I know this isn't a weight loss thing. We are decluttering, but It is part of your life, and it is about clothing. That hope, maybe one day I'll fit into that. My mother, my 84-year-old mother, who I have helped declutter her clothes, she has a pair of shorts that a few years ago when I was helping her declutter, 80 plus years old, she has a pair of shorts that have like I swear to God, like a 14-inch waist. She's like, maybe someday I'll fit into them. Okay. Yes. Welcome to my TED Talk. Thank you, Erin Collins. Yeah. Stacy Babbage, decluttering pounds. Yeah. So we cling on to things. I was that skinny once. I might be able to get that skinny again. And skinny equals good and acceptable and pretty. So I may sometimes be skinny and acceptable and pretty again. You know? Yeah. Yeah. And Laura Voorhees says, I wish the medication had worked for me. Yeah, I am trying and to give myself grace. I will offer to you, yes, and the way we feel, notice the way we feel physically and mentally. And the one thing that is also what do I want to say? A through line in the decluttering and let's say like a GLP-1 or something that I'll just speak only for myself personally. The thing that it really helped with was it turned down the volume on all the backseat driver talk about food. It feels so much better to just have it quiet back there. That I can be like, oh, I noticed my body is hungry. I should probably give it something healthy that feels good, that's going to give me long lasting energy versus just some potato chips. I eat. I say, oh, my body feels full. I stop eating. And I don't feel like I need to be part of the clean plate club. Then I go off and I do my stuff. It is a revelation. Okay. Ooh, I love it. LO. Came across this quote GLP helps, GPS guides, but my body decides. Yes. And the other thing too, there was something else I wanted to. Oh, Kara, just changing medicines. I had to go from Wegovy to a compounded version. It was fine. Destiny Smith is asking what the Clean Plate Club is. I love that you don't know what it is. Yay. I feel like I shouldn't tell you. Some of us grew up in a family that experienced, and I love that. I don't want to say love. I was thinking about this morning. I wake up early, I think. Think about food insecurity. That's how we phrase it now. I grew up raised by people who were raised feeling insecure about where their next meal might be coming from, who grew up in World War II, Great Depression, poorness. So they had food insecurity. Notice that phrase. They were not secure. They did not feel, their nervous systems did not feel safe that there would be another meal or there would be enough food at the meal. So some of us who were raised by those people, when we stopped organically and said, no, my body is full, our parents saw that as wasting good food. So they rewarded you by cleaning your plate, by eating all of the food on your plate, even if your body was like, no, I'm full. And it used to be thought as a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. And then it became a power struggle. Wendy saying, yeah, eat everything on your plate. Yeah. Starving children in other countries. Wendy saying, I remember having to sit at the kitchen table until I ate my dinner. Many times I sat there all night and had to eat it for breakfast. Now talk about a power struggle. Yeah. So Destiny, I love that you didn't know what it is. And now when you hear about it, you might have a better understanding of where some people are coming from when they are eating, when they talk about eating and things like that. All right. Yeah. Sneak food to the dog. I remember trying to hide things under like my chicken bones or saying I had to go to the bathroom and putting it in my pocket or putting it in my napkin and then throwing it in the toilet. I mean, how crazy is that? But then, much like clutter, okay, notice the parallels. When you don't have a lot, when you come from insecurity and scarcity, like, so imagine, you can't see, like here, imagine insecurity and scarcity is an empty stomach. When you start to eat, you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is good. I'm feeling better. But you still have that fear of not getting back to empty. So that's when you tend to not even recognize that you feel safe and good and that there will be another meal. There will be more stuff. So you bypass that organic, I'm good, this feels good, and you go into excess, too much. This is a bodily feeling when you're eating, and it's also clutter related. When you don't come from a lot and you start to acquire things, you're thinking, much wants more. Like, ooh, if a little bit is good, a lot must be better. And we're encouraged to buy things because people make money when we buy things. Okay. So I offer to you, getting decluttered is like reconnecting with your just right feeling, your set point, your I'm good. I don't feel like I'm in lack. I don't feel like I have too much. Again, the three bears. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. And everybody's just right feeling with food is different. And everybody's feeling with stuff in their home, the quantity, the quality, the style is unique to them. This is about reconnecting with that. So, or not even reconnecting. How about connecting with it for the first time? I feel like I am feeling that right now. And if anything, the neat thing is I feel safe. Notice food insecurity. I feel secure in the quality and quantity of items in my home. Okay. Yeah. And look at these comments here. I won't read them all, but notice many of us have issues with putting gas in our tanks because of the way that people themselves, the people that raised us, were raised, and maybe generations and generations before them. And they didn't do it to be mean, though some of them did. They did it because they were afraid that you might starve, that there wouldn't be another food, because they still had that food insecurity. If they knew, and think of the privilege we all have of having too much food, having the ability to overeat on a consistent basis where it gains weight, even though menopausal weight gain is not necessarily because of overeating. That being said, think of the privilege we have of buying and getting too much stuff. But with that comes responsibility. The generations prior to ours tried to compensate from their scarcity with too much and hanging on to everything. But we are all noticing that is a crappy feeling, much like not having enough is. So those two extremes have their own issues. What we want to do is feel safe and not like we're drowning and suffocating, and feel better. Yeah. Yeah. And Wendy, thank you so much for sharing your journey. And my heart goes out to you too. Okay. Yeah. And notice one of my punishments was my closets, dressers, and toy boxes dumped on my bed and floor. I couldn't go to sleep or leave my room till it was all put away properly. Some people are assholes. Some people have a power trip. So notice, is it any surprise that you may have thoughts and feelings that are not so great about cleaning your room? Yeah. 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 And here's the funny thing, Erin says, amazing how we were raised still affects us in our 50s and 60s, even though logically, oh yeah, logically, we know a lot of things, but are we doing them all? I mean, seriously. If you guys have seen my own habit tracker, how many times have I looked at these weights? I look at them. Am I doing it on a daily basis? No. But this is the key. This is the clutch. When you notice those things, you have an opportunity to change it, even if you're in your 50s or 60s. Because this is the root. This is a weed that is growing on the surface. And I've been hanging out weeding my garden a lot. It's not even a side yard. It is a weed, and some weeds have deep roots. So your issues, and I mean this in a good way, your thoughts about what it means to declutter, what it means to eat, overeat, undereat, what foods you have, can be rooted in something that was planted decades ago. When we realize that, we can start to dig out and unplant that seed and pull it out. Yesterday, I was really thinking about that. How we constantly have to be on the lookout for weeds in our garden. That weeds are strong. Their roots run deep, and they don't want to give up. They want to spread over and cover over so the flowers can't grow. Flowers, on the other hand, sometimes need nurturing. They need sunlight. They need they bloom, and they're less invasive than weeds. So think about that when you're thinking about the thoughts you have in your head. You have weed thoughts from the backseat driver, but you've got flower thoughts, flowers that you want to grow and bloom. And in order for them to fully flourish, it really helps to get the weeds out of the garden. Now think about this. You could cut it off just at the surface, but if the weeds are still there, they're going to pop up. You go deeper, you get some of the roots out. Yay. Okay, it's better on the surface and deep. You may not have gotten it all. You may never get it all. So things will creep up. My mother, in her 80s, is still living with an unexamined food insecurity that started when she was 4 years old, 80 years ago. And the reason she is still struggling with it is because she is not wanting to. She's afraid to go underneath for the roots. We're not afraid, though, all y'all. Yeah. Okay. And so Erin is saying, I tell myself I'm in charge and the weeds are gone, but my body tells something else when decluttering equals nausea every time. Yeah, you won't. And here's the thing. I was thinking about this in the garden. Okay. All or nothing. Notice where we use those words. I know that when I was out in the side yard there and I was pulling out weeds, I was getting more than I ever had. I was digging in and I was taking the time, and it was hard, and I was pulling it. I know that there was probably still a little smidge of the root there way down deep. So Erin, how about this? Instead of wondering if you're going to get it all, how about this? And I say this with love to you and me. We will never get it all. There may be little remnants of those roots that might occasionally sprout up, but when you weed and you get the big ones out and you go deep, even if they do come up, they're going to be smaller and easier to pull. Okay? Yeah. Right. And notice, and let's have this is emotional maturity for me. Do not get me wrong. When you have sympathy and empathy and context and understanding for the people who raised us, when you see the context of the world they grew up in, it gives you some perspective. And it gets an idea. As Farm Girl says, our mother's generation just don't want to deal with their trauma. Maybe they do, but they weren't taught to, like we have been taught. They were told not. Why do you think they call it the silent generation, people? They were taught to keep it down, to keep it down, to not make any things. And so they have decades worth of that stuff. So it feels so uncomfortable for them to bring it up. It feels like throwing up. We can do differently. We can understand that they are doing the best they can with the skills they have. We can do different. We can do better. And that's funny. Kara says, because she's the gardener in our club right here. If it's easy to pull up, it's usually a perennial. And a perennial is one that comes up every year, right? I don't know, regardless. But what I say is there are some weeds that are spreading out so the sunshine cannot get, so the stuff that is in you that's already there just waiting for the weeds to be removed are flourishing. You know, they're waiting there, but they will always be dormant if there's that weed that's growing over them. So the weeds are thoughts. So notice, is this a weed thought or a flower thought? Is this a weed thought? Okay, how can I stop it on the surface? But how can I also get to the root? And I will say this, imagine all the roots, and this could be an over exaggeration, but I think there's a big enough grain of truth in this, and we've only got like 3 minutes together. All of the roots of those weeds goes down to one point, and that one point is fear. Fear of something. And usually it is a human animal fear. Fear of abandonment by the pack, because we don't survive without each other. Fear of being ostracized. Again, fear of not having enough food to survive as a human species. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, and all the generations are sifting through. What do I want to pull from that other generation? We were talking earlier, so I'll wrap it up. And Destiny, how great you went to therapy as a kid and teenager. Maybe the great thing is that your mom knew she was too afraid to change herself, but she knew enough to send you to therapy. Or I don't know the situation, but notice that generations can change. And this is how evolution happens. Weeding out the stuff you don't want, and then encouraging the things you do want. It's just like decluttering the family photos. What stories do you want to live on in your family? And what stories do you want to fucking die out? And the stories of scarcity and lack that get you into fear of survival mode, let's die those down, because we don't have to right now. We can be aware, we can be prepared, but we can be prepared to the right amount and not scared, because when you are scared, you're controllable. When you get out of fear and into curiosity, you've brought your power back to yourself to say, how do I want to feel? Why am I feeling nausea when I declutter? It's probably because it still reminds me of some jerk. Okay, let me dig out that weed again, and I'll dig out the weed. And I will tell you, every time you weed, the weed becomes smaller. It may never be out of your garden, but it will be smaller. And don't just weed, but then plant the seeds of the thoughts that you want to grow. So you can stop that one and start this one. Okay? Yeah. So what I want to offer to you is, it's 9:00 in the morning. I feel like I've had a deep convo. It's actually at 8:59. Well, now it's 9:00. I hope this helped. I hope this gave you something to chew on in your brain as you're going about your day. Even just as simple as saying, have I had enough? Am I good with this? Can I push back from the plate? Can I say no thank you to all the ads on TikTok and YouTube and that are going to encourage me to buy something? Can I quiet down the weed thought at the surface and then dig deeper and unroot it and throw it in the freaking yard waste thing that they're picking up on Monday? Because that's what I'm about to do right now. It rained, so it's going to be easier for me to go out there and unroot some things, and I chunk it down. Okay? I chunk it down. I did 15 minutes one day, 15 minutes the next day, 10 minutes the next day, and I'm going to do a chunk now, and it's making a difference. Okay. So all good stuff, people, all good stuff. As a reminder, Monday, September 29th is the heavy hitter. It's a triple, it's a, it's a trifecta. 8 a.m. TikTok, 9 a.m. declutter party. Tickets are available. 1 p.m. YouTube. And then the 29th, really until the 18th, the schedule is done. Don't forget, if you liked this TikTok or this YouTube live, the recording will be in the September, what do you call it? The September spreadsheet, thingamabob, whatever you call it. What do they call that? This is where my brain is like, yeah. Playlist. That's it. The September 2025 live recordings, TikTok live. This will be on that. So if you want, remember this one and bookmark it and listen to it again. Remind yourself of the good stuff. Okay. Now I'm going to sign off. Always a pleasure to hang out with you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to articulate these things, hopefully in a coherent way that communicates some of these things that are pretty deep thoughts, but deep thoughts are okay. Just because it's deep doesn't mean it's a weed. These are flower thoughts. Okay. These are, you've got this, you can do it. Okay. Now I got to scoot. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll see you guys next week. Okay. Have an awesome weekend and go weed your garden. All right. Bye.